Dom Marchese. You're watching Shanna 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 podcast live.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. We have a special guest all the way from Toronto, Canada. We have Dom Marquis from joining the podcast. Hi Dom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Thanks.
How are you this evening?
Great. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I really love your background. Huh?
Well, it's the little studio we have at home. So
Right,
my
right,
son and my son and I, we kind of share it, and we do our music out of it.
right. So Dom, how is the situation in Toronto these days with the COVID and pandemic and everything?
Well, we're currently in a lockdown. No more than 5 people per household.
Right,
Um, I guess it's the same around the world. Social distancing, a mask. Where if you're out in public or if you're out and about, which you're not really supposed to be going anywhere, um, because they shut everything down. But we're surviving, and we're making the best of it.
right, right. So during the lockdown, I know that a lot of musicians they cannot perform live anymore, but they get a lot of time now to do work on their music, right? So you can write new songs and stuff. Have you been doing that?
Yes, for sure. Always writing and taking the time to play all the instruments that we have available here. So yeah, for sure.
So Dom, when did you last perform live?
Well, I did a live to tape concert, just like one song at
Right.
the Aga Khan Museum in Toronto, and we did that on the last couple of weeks. So that was the last time, which was pretty cool.
Right, right. So I got to know you from Laura Tonelli, right? So she's from the LET signature event. So somehow I got connected with Laura through the internet. I really don't know how, but then she start talking about you. So I wanted to talk to you. So how long you been working with Laura?
Laura and I have been working together for, I would say, got to be 2.5 years now,
Right,
and she's a local promoter that does a lot of festivals in the summer, and she brings all the bands together. But her and I kind of hit it off, and she exclusively wanted to kind of promote me, and so it's been about 2.5 years, and it's been going good.
right. So Dom, can you tell me a little bit about your childhood and then how did you got into music?
I was first inspired by Elvis when I was about 6 or 7. I remember watching Elvis and the Beatles, on the
Mm,
Ed Sullivan show, and I I was instantly drawn to becoming this musician, but I didn't know how I was going to approach it. But by the time I was 8 or 9, 10, my dad brought me to guitar lessons, and I didn't have too much interest back then. I wanted to
right,
play with my friends. That was the most important thing. So he was like, it's either you play your guitar and you play with your friends afterward, right? So I kind of chose playing with my friends. That was my thing.
right.
But it wasn't, long after that, I picked up the bass guitar and I attended music school in college, and the rest was history. From grade 13, from 13 years old and on till now.
Right. So you mentioned Elvis and Beatles. What are the other music you listened to back then?
I listened to pretty much everything, for anything from rock to, Elton John to, Def Leppard to, Metallica, AC/DC,
Right.
Led Zeppelin, Bon Jovi, all those cool bands. I pretty much love listening to everything, anything that was popular.
Right. So, Dom, do you remember when you like first perform publicly?
I was about 14 years old. We did some fashion show, um, and it didn't go over that well because nobody really paid attention. But it was fun, and I knew I wanted to get into this. So about 14 years old.
Right, right. So, as a singer, so as a more of a songwriter, so because you write your own song, so
Right.
who do you think, who do you feel like, who influenced you on that? Who are the influences for your songwriting and singing?
Influenced by so much. I mean, the Beatles, number one. Elvis was an influence. Elton John was a big influence. Um, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan.
Right.
You know, so it kind of varies from different genres of music. I kind of liked everything, and I loved folk music and rock music. So I kind of balanced the two,
Right, right,
inspired by everything I heard, really.
right. So I was reading about you, and then I found out that you actually had a earlier days you had a band called Marquis, right?
Marchese, yes, that was back about 10 years ago. We formed a band, and it was all my brother-in-laws, and we did a lot of great things back then. We opened up for Bon Jovi and toured with Scorpions and Def Leppard, and bands like Honeymoon Suite, and it was good times for sure.
So, did you ever thought of like having this band, like cousins and all that, that you would be able to open for these guys like Def Leppard and Bon Jovi?
We always dreamt about it, but never thought it would ever happen. And we would contact the promoters and any kind of live event that was happening at the time, and we
Right,
submitted our music, and we just said, you never know, right? And before you know it, they gave us a call and said, hey, would you be interested in opening up for us? Like, their managers or their promoters would be contacting us, and it'd be like surreal, and we never refused, that was for sure. you know
right. And you opened for Scorpions as well. When was this Scorpions?
Scorpions, I believe, was 2009. It was a Canadian East Coast, Eastern Canadian tour. We did about 4 or 5 shows with them. It
Right,
was it was really cool. Yeah.
right. I watched them in 2016. That was actually, they celebrated their 50th year already,
Oh,
right?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Amazing band.
Great guy. Great guys. Very loud band, and it was really fun. They were very generous when we were supporting them. By the end of the last few shows, they had given us their drum risers, and they ended up giving us all their lighting and gave us full access to their board. Nobody really does that. They took a liking to us, and we ended up hanging out after the shows, and it was such a great experience.
Right. So this your band at back then, you perform covers or did you perform your own music?
We did original music
Right.
and some cover. Yeah, we would cover some, but it was mostly originals. We ended up, even that was the band, we ended up going to Nashville and recording with the Obie O'Brian, Bon Jovi's engineer and slash producer, and he produced an album for us in Nashville.
Right. Can you tell me how that happened? I think Obie O'Brien actually produced Bon Jovi's Bounce album, I think, right? 2002 Bounce album.
Yeah, he produced that and a few other things. He's always been around the picture there. I guess when we opened up for them in 2006, January of 2006, apparently he was in the audience. He was kind of doing sound for Bon Jovi and kind of heard us. But then my brother-in-law's brother, who lived in Los Angeles, he met up with him at a show and
Right.
submitted one of our demos. And he said, yeah, I remember these guys from Toronto, and I'll take a listen to them, and took a liking to us. So it was pretty good.
Right. So I also know that you guys were very active in the Toronto club circuits, right? You played a lot of clubs and places like that. So can you tell me a little bit about those days playing in clubs and doing the gigs?
Well, those days were a lot better than these days, that's for sure.
Right.
You know, people would go out to the bars. I mean, we had a residence at a local Firkin pub that we would normally play once a month, and various other clubs and little pubs. I mean, we were always playing and always gigging. It was like, 3-piece band, and it was, by the end of the night, you'd always have at least 250 people in this crowded little pub, but it was always fun. And we
Mm.
we started gaining a following. It was good time back then. Nowadays it's so different, especially with this COVID. Nobody's really going out. Nonetheless, they're not even having any live entertainment anymore.
Right.
So it's different. What 10 years have done, it's what a difference.
Right. So how was the situation like before COVID in Toronto? Is it very active nightlife and all that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely more active in the summer when it was hotter. People would go out, and the clubs would be busy, because all the bands would be promoting, and people would go out and support the local scene. It was pretty good. I mean, in the winter it got a little bit slow, but it all depended on where you were playing.
Mm.
But nonetheless, it was a pretty decent. We had a pretty decent scene here, but it's kind of declined throughout the years. It's kind of declined.
Right. So you started as that three-piece band, but now you recognize more of as a solo artist, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm kind of just Dom Marchese now, and kind of write and perform. But I have other guys that play with me when we do live gigs and stuff. And I have a handful of guys that come out and play with me, and sometimes I just play by myself. It all depends on the show or the gig.
Right. So I'm listening to you. I've been listening to your songs, and I really appreciate what you have put out. And I actually message you also
Thank
that I
you,
really love like some of your songs.
thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about your like? I think your first single was in 2016 when it's tough to be you.
Well, yes, that's off the Destiny record. Um, a song about not having the greatest time, and sometimes life gets the best of you, and you know uh, rather than shut yourself down or crumble to the ground, you got to rise up again. So, and I believe you know it's not always easy to be yourself, at
Mm,
at the best of times. So, just a song about rising up and getting back on your feet.
right. Dom, what I felt from your song is uh, like faith is a big part of your songs. I believe so. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I kind of feel that every song I see your music videos that you put out, I see a big part that faith is a big part of it. So can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yes, faith is everything, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're going for. Um, I believe if you don't have faith, you really don't. You got nothing really. So, um, and sometimes I struggle with believing that maybe what I have, or what I'm going to release is going to be anything good. So it's a constant struggle, but at the end of the day, it really, you got to focus, and you got to look within and find that faith. And that's what kind of keeps me going all the time, because I kind of brush away all the nonsense, and really look inward and find that there's faith, there's belief, and like I said, without it, you really have nothing. And to dream is to believe and hope, and have faith in something unseen. So I think faith is everything.
Right. Especially now with the pandemic, right? Where
Oh,
everything sort of the lot of things from our life is stripped out and sort of now we are like very bare metal life, right? Because we only have family and or ourselves, right? So it's I think that's big part of it now that we have to have something to hold on to, right?
of course, of course. And whatever it is, your faith, whatever religious belief that you believe in. And it, at the end of the day, you have to have faith and you have to hold on to it. And that, and those are the, and that's what really gets you through those hard times.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So it is really about faith and believing.
So, Dom, having these lockdowns and pandemic, what sort of did you learn some things about yourself, and did you learn some lessons from it?
Well, I learned that it's hard to keep still.
Right,
It's really hard because I'm pretty active. My brain and imagination is always running. Even in my sleep, I'm not a very good sleeper. So I learned that I'm not a very good guy to that keeps very still at the best of times. So I'm either at some point in the studio or on the piano, on the guitar, or even just outside right now, when it's snowing, shoveling the snow at any time, just to keep busy. So I like to keep busy and I like to keep active. But in the lockdown, it's hard to kind of keep still. Really, it's really hard.
right. Because before the lockdown, we had a lot of distractions. Right, before we had work, we have to go out, we have to do so many things. So,
All
but
right.
now all those things have gone away. Now we end up with, oh, what
Yeah.
to do now, right?
Exactly. You got to try to keep yourself busy as much as possible. And I'm not so much of a TV guy, like I don't really watch TV.
Right.
So you gotta keep yourself entertained. You gotta be creative.
Right. So, can you tell me a little bit about your album Destiny, which was released, I believe, in 2017? There were a couple of nice songs from that album. Can you tell me why did you name it Destiny, and what the message is?
Destiny. I named it Destiny because, well, incidentally, there's one of the songs off the record is called Destiny. I just I thought that it would be fit to call it Destiny because I believe that you make your own destiny. Like you have to meet life halfway. You can't just wait on at home or sitting down and think that things are going to happen for you.
Right.
I mean, whatever it is, if you're studying to be a doctor or you're studying to be a chef, you have to really work at it. So I believe Destiny is a song about, and an album about working hard at something and making it happen. Making it happen. So the
Right.
songs off Destiny are just, songs about faith, about working hard, and believing.
Right. One of the songs that I really like also from that album is, you have a song called "I'm Sorry." It When I am listening to it, it feel very personal even for me, because everybody have that sort of experiences, right? So can you tell me a little bit about that song, "I'm Sorry"?
The song is about just my relationship with my kids, my wife, and with friends. You're not always the best person to these important people in your life. And when it comes to relationships, and you sometimes you think you're doing the right thing, and maybe there at times you neglect a situation, or you neglect that person, or you become selfish, or you become so entwined in your own journey that you kind of forget maybe the needs of others. And you know but I was glad to realize that sometimes you have to kind of step away from yourself and think about the other person, and 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 what was the best thing to say.
Mm,
I You can't take back any kind of hurt that you ever instilled on somebody, but I'm sorry was the appropriate word, and in this case it it turned out to be a song.
right. Yeah, even I experienced that, like, uh you think that you're doing these things because of them, or for them, and then but in the
Right.
journey you forget. Sometimes you you put you so much focus on what you're doing, work or whatever, and then you actually lose, you neglect them, right, in a way. So
Right.
it can
Mhm.
happen. So I
Yeah,
experienced that also, like you were so much into your work and all this, and then you just
right.
but ultimately your purpose was to provide for them and take care of them, right?
Exactly. And you lose sight of the true, the big picture.
Right,
Your loved ones and your friends and your family, they're there to support you and help you, and it's important to acknowledge that and to nurture that relationship. And
right,
you know, eh, we're here and we're learning. This journey that we're on is an experience of lessons, and it's a beautiful thing when you learn and you experience the lesson in the faults and in those bumpy roads, as you go along your journey, right? So
right, right.
I'm sorry is a song about is a song about reflecting and realizing that maybe you messed up, but there's always time to change the road and change the outcome.
Right. And you this year you released your single Sacred Heart. What I really love this song because um if you're a religious person, you would you would feel that it's about Christ or what. But if you're also a non, or maybe you're not that really thinking about religion, but it can easily be a message about somebody that you really love or respect. That's how I feel about that song. It's really beautiful song. uh,
Thank you.
can you tell me how that idea came for that song?
Well, I there was a time about a year and a half ago that I was going through some depression and anxiety. I was going through a rush of indifferences in my own mind, and I was trying to figure out where I was going, and I had a hard time dealing with just life. It seemed like it hit me like a ton of bricks, and the only hope I had was because at that point I had lost all my faith in pretty much everything.
Right,
I had no faith in God anymore. I was like, no, nothing really matters. What does it matter for, right? But I realized that in prayer and in finding your inner voice, I realized that there's something bigger than us, and I got my faith again, and I wanted to give back to in my case, I'm a Christian, Catholic, Roman Catholic. I believe in Jesus, and I didn't at one point, but you know he called me back, and I just needed to write a song for the gratitude that I had, and I didn't know what I was going to write, but I woke up. It was a Saturday morning. I woke up. It was a routine. I went down to the studio and started playing my piano. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just started to play, and all of a sudden I started writing this song, and it and right away I got the feeling of, okay, this is something bigger than what's happening here, and I started to write these words and this song within 10 minutes, really 10 minutes of the lyrics coming through. I started to write them and scribble them. I still have that original paper. I wrote the song, and I recorded it quickly, and I played it for my son. I remember just a really rough mix, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, it sounds pretty cool." And he usually has a pretty good ear, and so I kind of let other people listen just to that really rough demo,
right,
and the response was pretty good. But more than the response was the feeling I got, the feeling of that this was the song I was looking for. So my gratitude and thanks to the Almighty was very powerful, and I you know I went into the studio and recorded it, and I had some help with it, and it was really turned out to be a really cool song, and it's people are liking it, and people are getting inspired, and that's what this is all about.
yeah. uh, one more thing is that when I first listened to the song, I got a feeling that, oh, this can be like a song from Journey, or this can be like a song from Bon Jovi, because you had that sort of elements there, right, in that song.
Right, right. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Journey and Bon Jovi, both both great bands, and I love them both. Right. So, I
Right,
mean, the influences come out in the music. There's
right.
no doubt about it.
Yeah. I even shared it because I really felt I mean, last couple of days of because of Christmas and all this, you see a lot of things in Facebook. A lot of people are sharing about Christmas, all the parties and
Right,
everything happening. But a lot of people forget the reason for Christmas is Christ, right? So
right.
I really felt that listening to your song really gives me that message that the reason for this season is actually, because of Christ, right? So
It's absolutely because of Christ. I mean, what he did for the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, you know, we have a hard time sacrificing our time nowadays,
right,
and time is like so valuable to us when it's really in comparison. It's really nothing compared to what Jesus did for us and what he sacrificed. And I mean, if we can do a little bit each day to help somebody else, I think it's very important. And
right,
Sacred Heart is a song about releasing and saying, if I'm going through a hard time, I can open up and find grace in my wounds and surrender whatever it is you're going with. Or the journey is hard for everybody. It's not easy. It's never been it's never been said that life is going to be easy. But I think in my case as a Christian, with God, it makes it easier.
right. So uh I sort of, I probably you've seen my like Facebook and all that. So I've been into like a lot of metal, heavy metal, and
Oh yeah.
all this black metal, death metal, all these
Oh
things.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
few years back, I was always not really looking at gospel music or music about faith that seriously. But I started going to couple of gigs, concerts, and then I really loved it. So I started going to the gospel shows as well,
Right.
in between the all these black metal, because uh, what I felt is that it really, I don't know, it brings up something in you that doesn't really happen in the other shows, because it's all mostly it's like very personal messages through those songs, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure, and that's quite a contrast, for sure.
Yeah.
But me too. I feel like I feel that faith music is so important. It's so uplifting.
Right.
It's powerful. It's very, very powerful. The message of love. I mean, how many songs are written about love? There's so many songs,
Right.
so many, and even if it's breaking up because of love, there's so many songs about love. So it tells you that love is very, very, very powerful, the most powerful force in the universe. So it's
Right.
got to mean something. Um, it's definitely very powerful within us.
Right. Right. Dom, you mentioned about your son. Is he also into music? Is he also singing?
My son also plays music. He sings. He's an actor, and the video. I'm sorry, that's him. He's in the video.
Oh, okay.
That's actually him. He's the actor in the video. So he's currently studying at York University for drama and theater art, and his minor is in music. So he's got that whole spectrum covered.
Right. Right. That's nice. So Dom, what's upcoming? Are you working on any new songs, or what's coming up?
Yeah, always working on some new songs. Where we just recorded a song called "My Home," which I did a live acoustic version at the Aga Khan Museum. We're working on another song called "What Love Is For." It's pretty cool, and I'm always writing. I have tons of songs that I've written that I kind of sporadically share on social media. But I'm always writing. I'm always fooling around with ideas and lyrics and songs. So that's always in the go. Um, we are actually hopefully once this pandemic goes kind of tapers down and we're allowed to do some concerts, even if it's a virtual concert, we're looking at doing a concert with my music, but with an accompanied orchestra, like a
Wow.
20-piece orchestration along
Right.
with the band. So it'll be like 20-piece with a 6-piece band. So you're going to see about roughly 26, 27 musicians on stage doing my music, and so it'll be like a concert, classical rock concert. So that's what we're working on. We've been working on that for the last year, Laura and I, and other various organizations that we want to help raise money for. I'm currently selling the Sacred Heart masks to raise money for the less fortunate people that are in our community.
Right. Right. So, Dom, what's your message to people who support your music?
My message is thank you for supporting, thank you for listening, thank you for sharing, thank you for all the support and love, and look out, because I'm gonna be coming at you with more music and more fun. That's for sure.
Right. Anybody you want to shout out to, Dom?
I want to shout out to Laura Tonelli for all her help and in promotions, and she's been doing a great job. I want to give a shout out to Joey Greco, who's been producing the last couple of songs, and his studio's been awesome. Want to shout out to all my family for support throughout the years, and I want to say hi to my dog Mason. He's been running around here back and forth, so I don't know if he's ever going to watch this. Maybe I'll let him tune in. But Mason, we love you.
Dom, it was very nice to talk to you. I'm glad we did this conversation. So, looking forward to your new music.
Thank you.
Very, very inspirational music. So, keep doing what you're doing. So, lastly, tell everyone how they can follow you.
Well, before that, I want to say thank you for having me on this excellent podcast. It was really fun talking to you
Right.
and getting to know you. This is really cool. Maybe we'll turn it around and I should ask you some questions
Yeah.
about your career. That'd be cool. That's kind of different, the musician asking the interviewer. That would be
Right.
cool. But people could reach me at Dom Marchese at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. It's always at Dom Marchese.
Right. Where is your music? You're on all the platforms, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Amazon, Spotify. We're on Apple iTunes. Pretty much all the platforms. If you log it in, it'll come up somewhere.
Right.
And if you're looking for personal CDs, excuse me, you can private message me, and I'd
Right.
be glad to serve you.
Right. So, Dom, thank you for joining the podcast. So, looking forward to your music, as I said. So, stay safe. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Shannon. You too. Stay safe, and thanks again for having me.
Thank you.